sort of clean bill of health from the weekend. Everyone got through the game okay, so no issues coming out of the guys who played in the weekend. Coming back in, the only one change will be young Adam Montgomery's available. He trained with the team yesterday and today and has got through unscathed. So he's ready to go, and the rest will be very similar to the weekend.
In terms of the European results, there was obviously a lot of scrutiny after the Leverkusen game, but considering what happens since, how much do you think this Celtic squad are in a better place than what they were before the Leverkusen game?
Yeah, look, I mean, I said before the weekend's game that we're definitely better prepared. I mean, we're just more settled. The players are more settled. You know, everyone's just a little bit more settled. We've had more time together as the group. The international break was good for us, I think. You know, not just for the fact that we got our players back healthy, but the ones who stayed here, we could actually do some work with. And you know, yeah, we're just a more settled squad. And yeah, I mean, look, I think the one thing about the European games, both games we've had so far, we've shown that we, you know, in moments where when we take the game to the opposition, we can, you know, we can make an impact, but we've certainly also paid for our mistakes, and that's the level of European competition where, you know, you can, you know, our football in general, I thought has been good in both games. Even the Leverkusen game, I know we lost quite convincingly, but anyone who watched that game will know that we had our fair share of chances to make an impact. But at the same time, the flip side of that was that, you know, both against Betis and Leverkusen, we got punished for our mistakes. And, you know, that's part of the sort of our learning process, you know, playing in, you know, at this level.
Is there anything you can do as coach now to ward off that type of mistakes coming from individuals or coming from a back line or coming from a team that, you know, that will get punished here? Have you had to change anything recently?
No, it's not a matter of changing. As I said, it's just part of the learning process and part of the evolution of the team. And, you know, I think from my perspective, there was enough positive signs in both those performances to continue on what we're doing. You know, I think anyone will tell you part of the challenge playing, you know, good quality teams is, can you cause them problems? It's easy to set up a team to stop the opposition, but you know, if you really want to make an impact in these in Europe, you've got to be able to hurt oppositions yourself. And I thought we showed that in both games. As I said, part of that process is also learning that you know, you're going to get punished for your mistakes by quality opposition. So that's just part of the learning process, and not nothing that sort of derails what you're trying to do.
Okay, thanks, Ronnie. Gordon, Sky Sports.
Can I just recap quickly in Hungarian?
We were okay. Every question we weren't going to do.
Okay. So it's okay for me. I will tell the journalists later once we are finished. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you.
Cheers, all. Thanks.
Hi, Ange. In the context of the group and your hopes of progressing, how important is this game?
Yeah, look, you know, it's the game we've got to win if we want to keep our hopes alive. You know, obviously the other two sides in the group have won their two opening games, so you know, you kind of know that you know, if we're going to bridge that gap, we've got to win our games that we've got remaining, and particularly the two games at home we have, and starting tomorrow. And so you kind of know the significance of tomorrow's game within the context of us wanting to progress. So no shying away from that. We need to win tomorrow.
Do we make too much from the outside, Ange, about confidence and momentum, or does it make a difference going into this game on the back of two impressive away victories?
Oh, look, you know, I don't know whether you make too much of it. I guess there's always a different feeling within the walls of a football club, and it's very hard for people outside to sometimes get an accurate gauge on that, because you know, they're working on limited information, and most of the time they're just working on, you know, what the results have been. So you know, I think results are going well, so that means confidence must be high, or results aren't going well, and you know, maybe people are struggling. But the one thing I will say is, right from the start, irrespective of sort of our inconsistency in results, is that the mood's still been fairly positive the whole way through. There hasn't been a time where I felt, okay, we're you know, the players maybe are lacking a little belief or you know, sort of determination to get to where we want to. So from that perspective, there hasn't been a major shift, but there's no doubt you win a couple of games. And I think the manner in which we won against Motherwell, does give the group, some added sort of confidence and belief. But it's not a major shift from what's been here. As I said, I think the prevailing thing for us at the moment is it just feels like we're a more settled group. There's no one coming and going. There's no one sort of coming in at the last minute. Everyone sort of has got to know one another, our football, the way we train. So I think that's the biggest sort of shift I've noticed in the last sort of 2 weeks.
On BBC.
Excuse me. Hi, Ange. Obviously, this is the going to be a first game in Scotland where the COVID passport has been introduced. I wonder if, from your perspective, how aware you are of how easy it's been for the club to implement, and are they ready to go, basically?
Yeah, mate. The machinations and details behind that are well beyond me. Look, again, I guess it's the kind of world we live in where there are certain regulations, and I think for the most part they're done for the health and safety of people. It's obviously a challenging game for us, and mainly because of the kick-off time. But the reports I've got back from the club are that the supporters are getting right behind us, and it's obviously going to be a bit of a sacrifice for some of them to get to the game. So, I think we're all appreciative of everything that sort of our supporters have to go through to get behind us. But key thing for us is we know as many as there are going to be there tomorrow, it's going to be a cracking atmosphere again, and we've got to make sure that we play our part in rewarding our supporters for the sacrifices they're making.
Yeah. So as far as you're aware, there's no certain concerns that the actual COVID passport will affect the attendance, more the awkward kick-off time, perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's probably better people in the club to answer that question. But from my perspective, the feedback I've got is that we can't understand the difficult situation this fixture has caused, and but again, our supporters have been brilliant in backing us.
Yeah, and just on the pitch, the group's been very attacking so far. Teams who really just go for it. Are you expecting the same from Ferencvaros?
Yeah, I think so. As you said, it has been a really open attacking group. All the games, even the ones not including us, have had plenty of goals. And I think so. I think they'll come here, and they probably know they need a result as well. So I think they obviously got a result here last year. So I expect them to come at us, and I expect it to be a pretty open, aggressive game for both teams. So it should be entertaining. Should be plenty of goals, and hopefully we come out on the right side of it.
Okay, great. Thanks. PA Sport.
Ange, can I just ask you to tell us a bit more about your time with Ferencvaros, and does he have a kind of ongoing influence in the way you set your teams up and you approach games, your style of play as well?
Yeah, look, I've mentioned I think a few times there's been sort of varying influences in sort of the way I look at football, and probably the predominant one was my father, but Ferenc is probably one of the most significant influences, yeah, for sure. He came into sort of my career. I was captain of the club at the time, South Melbourne, and he's one of the biggest legends of the game. Even if you're talking about one of the greatest ever, he makes that list of players, and he was just a gentleman. From the moment he walked through, he was humble. We were constantly pestering him to tell us stories about Real Madrid, what he did here at Hampden, what he did at Wembley, and he was forever sort of downplaying everything, and it just showed you that the greatness of a man was just his humility in dealing with people. And I was lucky because when he came to Australia, his English wasn't great, but he'd coached Panathinaikos to a European Cup final. So his Greek was decent. So I acted almost as an interpreter. I used to pick him up from his house and drive him in my crappy old car to training, which I was embarrassed about. But, during that time, we swapped many stories, and his philosophy to football was basically just go out there, enjoy yourself, and score goals. I remember we used to play with two wingers, and he was forever telling our wingers never to come back and never to defend. And I was a fullback, so it used to infuriate me. But we won a championship with him, and I can tell you that part of the reason we won was just the atmosphere within the group, because no one wanted to let him down. He was just a great man, and I was really sad when he passed away, because when he left sort of Australia, I wasn't able to sort of reconnect with him when I got older and became a manager myself, because I would have loved to thank him personally for the influence he was as a man as much as he was as a coach.
And just going back to the game, obviously you managed to get Tom Rodgick and David Turnbull on the starting lineup on Saturday, and they both obviously produced the goods. Are you keen to kind of keep their creativity in the team as much as possible, or do you have to maybe, get a bit more solid midfield at times as well, or are you just keen to get them involved together?
Yeah. I mean, that's always the challenge, is, how sort of, you've always got to have good balance. The key to that, I guess, is, I think when Tom and Dave are in good physical condition, they can do the defensive work we need, so that, we don't lose the balance. I think the one, the tough bit for them has been that I have been able to rotate them. So, if you look at through sort of the last stretch of games, I had to play game after game after game. And then that's when I think it becomes, too much of a burden on them to do that sort of role. But certainly on the weekend, they both looked fresh. I mean, Dave hadn't played at all during the time away, and Tom felt really good. So I think that showed. I mean, I guess that's for me the kind of thing we've just got to keep monitoring. And there may be games where I think, we need to give one of them a spell, so that we can change things up a little bit. But I think when they're both feeling good and fresh, I think it gives our team a real good sort of attacking threat without sort of diminishing any sort of defensive solidity we may need.
Andrew?
And you talked about how key the atmosphere that Ferenc created at the club was. Is that something that you've tried to emulate throughout your career as a manager at the clubs you've been at?
It's certainly highlighted the importance of it to me, that, how important it is that, as a leader, that, people believe in you. And we certainly believed in him. I'm totally different to him in terms of, like I said, he was just, he was the most humble man, where he would just talk with everyone, and, you could spend hours with him. I'm kind of, not as social as he was in that respect, but that showing that, as a leader, you don't have to fear by, fear all times. We wanted to play. It was like playing for your grandfather, mate. We just didn't want to let him down. He was he was old, and when he got to us, but he just created that aura about him that we never wanted to let him down. And that was pretty strong in terms of showing me that, as a leader, the people that you're working with, they need to believe in you as much as your ideas. And that certainly was really evident with the atmosphere he created at training and at the club.
And earlier on, you touched on the qualifying defeat last season that Celtic had to Ferencvaros. I know a lot has changed at both clubs since then. Is there any value at all at looking back on that game at all heading into this one?
Look, not really, like you said, because so much has changed. I mean, I've obviously spoken to the guys here, the staff and the players who were involved in that last year, but there was no crowd. It was an empty stadium. As you said, both clubs have changed managers. They've changed significantly in terms of their team. So I think it will be a totally different sort of contest this time, with supporters in there and with different approaches. But I think the one thing you do know is that they showed last year that they're a challenging team, and they'll be coming here to knock us off and get a result. And for us, it's pretty evident that we've got to play at our best if we want to get the result we want.
I think Gabriel?
Hi, Ange. Just a quick word on Jota becoming a really important player for the club. I think goal and assist yesterday, goal the previous game as well. How key is he becoming to what you want to do?
Yeah, he's, but I mean, Abada went through that spell, Kyogo went through that spell. I mean, I think I'm hoping that's what we're creating. We're creating a team that, has multiple threats in an attacking sense. And, Jota's slotted in really well. I really think there's more to come from him. He'll improve a lot, for sure. But I don't think that means that he's the key any more than Kyogo or Leal has been. Ajeti when he played scored. So I think the way we play helps these attacking players sort of bring out the qualities they have. I think the way we set up, and I think Jota himself will be the first to say that he's benefiting from that. He scored a great goal, but you're not going to score that goal unless Tommy Rogic has a vision to put you through. So it's not about one player being a key, and I think that's what we're trying to create. That's certainly what I'm trying to create with the team. That on any given day we have multiple goal threats, and if you look at our goals this year, they've come from just about everywhere, and we're not relying on one person or even two people to do that. Jota's playing his part in that.
And just finally, I think you touched on it earlier, just about the 3:30 kickoff tomorrow, European game in the daytime. Really strange. You're still hoping for the same atmosphere from the Celtic fans tomorrow afternoon?
Mate, I reckon you could play it at 3:30 a.m. and you'd get a great atmosphere at Celtic Park. I think our supporters will, they'll roll up, they'll sing their hearts out, and like I said, our job is to make sure that we reward them.
Thanks, Ange.
Okay, that's us, I think. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
Cheers, Ange.
Thank you.
Cheers.